This week on the podcast, we talk about how to take your live performance to the next level, why you should start your own podcast, and we sit down with local photographer and videographer Mark Films and talk about how we got into shooting epic photos and videos. Make sure you head over to iTunes podcast app, leave us a 5-star review if you like what we do. Go to tclemstudiosllc.com, check out our merch and all of our other content. Let's run that intro.
It's the Iron Skillet back again, episode 6 of season 3. I think eventually we're going to have to drop the seasons and
just keep going with the episodes.
Like start numbers, because at the beginning we were just seeing where it went, and now we're just in the rhythm of it.
I feel it.
But anyways, we got some cool topics to talk about tonight. We've all been brainstorming, trying to get some interesting aspects in there for you, but I want to recap and say that the back to school drive that we had last weekend was huge. You guys turned out big. We had a lot of donations. I think we had a lot more donations than last year.
For sure.
And, the event was even bigger, I feel. We had live performances this year. Myself, Shator actually found the time to join us.
Yeah,
she got off the job on that one, and we also had Oceans in Heaven pull up and put on a great performance.
Your daughter got on stage?
Yeah, my daughter did.
She put on a performance?
It was her birthday.
With Evan? Evan put on a performance?
It was great.
The kids were up there. They had everybody dying. They were like, do you like rainbows? Do you like this? It was hilarious,
back
man.
and forth.
And it
was
happened
5 solid minutes.
It happened to be her birthday.
Yep.
And she had Shator Lane sing her happy birthday. That was a really special moment.
Funny, because my mom was like, wow, she's going to remember that forever. Like, Shator Lane. That's how she said it, like, sang her happy birthday. And I was like,
that's awesome.
She doesn't know it now, but
it's so funny. Because, like, when I went to do it, I could see her, like, getting moving, and I was like, oh no. Like, I thought she was, like, not having it.
Yeah.
Then she, like, ran right up next to me, and she was like, let's do this. I'm like, okay, here we go. So it was awesome. It was fun.
With anything, you gotta warm up to it. Like, I know you guys, everybody remembers their first performance.
Oh yeah.
And you really, at first you're nervous, a little uncomfortable, but, you kind of find that rhythm. So that kind of leads into the first topic, which I thought of the other day, just because we have had back-to-back weekends with shows, and we've been performing a lot lately. So I was thinking, like, what does it take to make a good stage performance? Like, anybody can hop up on stage, but to actually have a good performance and something that actually, grabs the audience or, really touches somebody, I think that it takes a lot, and it takes a really good performer. And I think it actually takes some practice too. Not even some, like a lot.
Oh yeah, a lot.
Totally.
The past couple of weeks I've been doing acapellas in my car.
Oh yeah.
I ain't got no CD player or nothing, so
I might as well.
Dark days.
Perfect time.
You got AC, right?
What else you gonna do? You ain't gonna CD player.
I mean, I could listen to the radio, but
You just like rap to yourself in silence, bro.
Yeah.
I want to see people's faces that are like beside you in the car. Like, what is this guy yelling at?
Yeah.
Yo, I never even thought about that. I just assumed that, like, it's 2019. I just assume people think I'm, like, talking on
jamming.
Bluetooth.
Yeah.
I am jamming. They just don't know there's no music.
Right.
This is how he was practicing for those bloopers from that Chicago vlog. If you guys watched to the end, you got to see Brandon in the shower hitting his own little mini concert back there.
I made a post. I was like, if anybody could guess the song that I was rapping in the shower at the end of the Chicago vlog, I was going to give him a free Whoop shirt. And to this day, nobody has guessed it. So
there you go.
Still
putting this out there. It's still up in the air. Free Whoop shirt.
Is it a bullwhip song?
It is a bullwhip song. Well, yes, it is a bullwhip song.
There you go.
I was going to say it's a song, a bullwhip song, but it actually is a bullwhip song.
There we go.
We're going to put that out
for
there. There's a hint.
Was it on a tape?
Stop.
Giving them too much, Travis.
Stop.
They got to work for it.
It is out there on the internet. It's not like it's hidden or anything, or it's an old song. Like, this is a new song just dropped this year. We'll say that. Leave it at that.
There you go.
Anyways, let's bring it back. What I think also on top of practice and a lot of it, like even the mirror practice, I think that really helps, and that can really
yeah.
help you get your movements and all that. But also have engaging with the crowd, finding a way to, you know, even if you're not like doing a chant or like, all right, clap your hand.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, something.
Being able to engage with them and actually, if you see them nodding your head and they're actually into it and you have their attention.
Yeah.
You know, I guess that's a better way to put it. I think eye contact is huge. I can't tell you how many times you'll see a performance, and I guess I'm speaking more for, in this generalization, I'm speaking more for, you know, singers or frontmen or, you know, rappers. Because, I mean, obviously, if you're playing an instrument, you know, you don't just want to stand there and drum.
Yeah.
Or, I mean,
play guitar.
Play guitar or even, well, drum, I guess you do got to sit there.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, you don't want to get up and run around.
well, I mean, hey, Tommy Lee does
crazy
flips
stuff.
and all types of stuff. But anyways, I'm talking as like the front man and stuff is, you know, moving around and eye contact, because sometimes you'll see them just looking down.
Oh, yeah.
Or, you know, I don't know. And confidence. Confidence is the biggest one, and confidence goes in everything I just said. Having confidence and them seeing that you have confidence in what you're saying and what you're doing that goes a long way, at least in my eyes when I see somebody perform.
I want to get your guys' opinion. I think that those little things mean so much more for rappers because you don't have a band.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have, no offense, but like you're not singing. So it's like people aren't just wowed because of the musicality of it. You are literally the entertainment. Like if you're just rapping over an instrumental, like the only thing that's going to make people excited about it is you. You have nothing else to back you up. And I mean, watching award shows, sometimes I'm like, watching hip hop award shows, I'm like, ugh, do something. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever done that? Like watch like the VMAs or something, and it's like a rapper, no offense, because you guys are doing way better than me. But as a consumer, I'll be watching it, and it's like, you're just pacing back and forth, this huge stage with thousands of people, and it's like, you're just pacing back and forth, rapping.
Screaming. They're kind of like off-tone, too. It doesn't line up.
Yeah.
Half the time it's karaoke.
Exactly.
I'm just like, how is that? Like, I don't understand how that's supposed to be the top tier of performance. Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
A lot of times I feel they could go above and beyond, too.
But they don't have the opportunity. I definitely agree with the engagement thing. I agree with what you're saying. I think personality has a lot to do with it, the amount of energy you bring to the stage. And, damn, what the hell else were you just saying, Shator?
I was saying, like, how as a rapper, I don't know. I was just saying that the only thing that's going to wow the crowd is you. You don't have your voice, none of that.
That brings me, I think if you ever get the opportunity to do it, take a little extra time and come up with props and an aesthetic for your whole set. You know what I'm saying? If you're bringing out other people on stage who are dancing, that's very engaging. That's going to wow some people. You know, like when Eminem used to come out with chainsaws and shit on stage, like people were like, "What the fuck?"
What is this?
He had a whole stage show. He had a whole movie set on stage with him.
It's not impossible to do. I said, it is a lot of hard work.
Cardboard some shit and draw, you know,
anything. You could bring plank on stage.
Even simpler, you know.
Like,
and
wow.
I feel a lot of people, DJs especially, and a lot of bands have this, but just get a banner with your name on it.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Just something simple.
A projector too,
or a projector. Oh, that would be huge
with
to project visuals. Or you know, a lot of DJs have that, and they got the laser shows and stuff. But basically, what it is you got to make it memorable. You can't. You always just get up there and rap.
Like the remember the band that we saw at Secrets? They were doing like the like
the reggae band.
No, it was like the lights.
The one inside.
The one inside, yeah. You remember
that had the chick singer?
Yeah. They put on a show,
and
but they had so many props like during their show. They were mostly doing cover. Yeah, they were doing all covers, wasn't it?
I was about to say sometimes they were doing rap songs.
Yeah, they were doing rap songs, but they were a rock band, and they had like lights and like these masks with lights on them and like all kinds of like crazy stuff.
And this is not a big band or that has a name, but you just brought that up because it was something memorable.
Wish I could remember that. It was like Radio State something. I can't. But they put on a good show.
I definitely couldn't tell you. That was
Like,
a wild night.
And ultimately, a prop could turn into a gimmick too. Like I'm thinking Tyler from Oceans in Heaven right now. Like
The tree.
the tree. I'm thinking about
He's
the
like,
tree.
"It's coming
like
my
it's
way."
so it's so subtle. But if you were to like be a huge fan of Oceans in Heaven, every time you see him on stage, you're gonna be like, where the fuck is that tree?
Well, now
Where's
people
the tree?
that are listening to this now and didn't notice, they're going to go back and watch his videos and say, "Where's that tree?"
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Look,
yeah. The tree's
that's
got to
his
be
tree.
there.
Yep.
Fun fact, he actually asked Trav to bring said tree with him to one of his performances.
Yeah.
He's like, no, we're not.
Dude,
can't
it's
see it.
not
It's
our tree,
It's
so
not
we
our-
can't
yeah.
do
It's
it.
not even our tree.
Not our tree, but
Nah.
we'll find one.
Said
find
tree is famous now. I think said tree deserves a name. But this is way off topic.
It's all good.
Yeah, we were close.
I think one thing you said, obviously being in the mirror is important. It's huge. But like one thing that I've learned a lot not just recently, but I've been trying to perfect is breath control. It's like you hear that from singers, like Beyonce's breath control, obviously because she's the best, is insane. She's like running on a treadmill, hitting notes like certain people can't even do
She does that?
seated. Yeah, she like runs on a treadmill and just sings.
That's pretty
Because it's
dope.
pretty much
So
what
I
she's
was walking
doing when
around
she's
on stage
performing.
and still singing, yeah.
Dude, yeah, I have so much respect because, like, I want my I want my movement to mimic what I want people to feel, right? But sometimes I'll know, like, I cannot do that and get this thing out.
Simultaneously.
That's why, honestly, when I did that crowd participation thing with that line, I did it because I practiced that performance so many times and I knew I couldn't say both those lines back to back. I had to take a breath.
See, that's
And the
smart.
only way I could do it was to make people understand, like, I'm going to pause. Say it if you want to. If you don't, it's fine. But that's really so I can take a breath and I don't have to be lazy
See, that
during
is
that part
smart.
of the performance.
Killing two birds in one stone.
Uh-huh.
You know? And people remember it. Like, people came up to me and they're like, oh, yeah, like Game of Thrones, blah, blah, blah. It's like something that they could connect to. You know what I mean? Because most people at least
Watch Game of
heard of
Thrones,
it,
yeah,
even
of
if they don't
course.
watch it. So, like, practicing that, if you're trying to do something different with your voice and your pitch is changing even a little bit, like, practice that. Make sure that you don't start running and jumping around and then realize, like, oh, like, there's no way I'm going to do this because I've done that before. I've done all of these things wrong before. I've practiced it but not been as hype as I was on the day of the performance. And then I got halfway through the verse and I was like, oh, this is going to be tough.
This is gonna be bad.
This is
my
gonna
gosh.
be
Yeah,
tough.
because when
All
you're
the time.
actually on stage and you have the mic, it's a completely different feel from when you were practicing it because you might be a little hyper
Oh, yeah.
or louder. So right off rip, you got, your breathing's getting shorter and shorter.
Oh, yeah.
So once you get to that breath, you need it.
Oh, yeah. I was, remember you had said about performances that like you thought stood out to you and why. I remember I came back and I don't know who was in here, but I told you guys I saw John Bellion perform a couple weeks ago, like randomly. I never really knew who he was. Someone gifted me the tickets. So I went, and this was one of the best live performances I've ever seen. This dude came out singing, hitting every note, playing the drum pad, playing the drums, like rapping. And then he did this thing called the Wheel of Solos, where he literally went through his freaking entire band and had them freestyle solos, and he was conducting them and pulling people out and bringing different people in and having the crowd start to chant different stuff.
That's
and it
dope.
made a song. Oh my God, I was literally in awe the entire time.
That is dope.
That sounds
It's crazy.
A couple weeks back, me and Trav went to catch Offie open up for Nappy Roots here
Oh, yeah.
at Brightbox, and I thought his performance was really dope because he would make the drum pattern, loop it, pick up the bass guitar, lay the bass down, loop it.
He did that all on stage.
Pick up every song.
Killed it.
Every song. I think every song.
Every song.
Every one that I noticed, he looped it, and then
Yeah.
he'd pick up the next instrument, and then once he had the full, layout, he would start singing, and then still be, playing lead, and
That's cool.
it was
killed it.
really inspiring.
It's another level of just musicality I can't even wrap my head around.
I think I have a story like on a consumer standpoint. I saw Wiz back-to-back years.
Which one? The one I seen y'all at?
Yeah,
The
so-
Wiz and Yellow Wolf?
Yeah, so I saw Wiz and Yellow Wolf in 2010, and then I
930
saw
Club.
Wiz and Big Crit in 2011 in Charlottesville. And within that year, he was a different person. Like the first, the Deal or No Deal tour was awesome.
That was before he signed at
Right.
the 930 Club.
Yeah. So, and he was like so personable with the crowd. Like, I mean, he was looking at the crowd, rapping to the crowd, and like shaking hands with everybody in the front row and stuff. And then the next year, literally didn't even look down. Had sunglasses on the whole night. Looked up, rapped the whole time, looking up. Never dapped anybody up in the front row. And it's like, from that show, I was just like, this kind of sucked compared to the last one.
Yeah.
So another thing about being consistent with your shows, I think is a big thing.
You know, I think another thing that could go into that, what was the venue like at the one in North Carolina? Was it bigger?
It was in Charlottesville, but
Oh, Charlottesville, Virginia.
yeah.
Oh.
It was at, I can't remember what the venue's called.
But was it bigger? Because I feel like the
maybe-
930 Club is smaller and a little bit more.
It might have
personal
been.
to
It might have
say?
been a little bit bigger, but not by much.
Yeah. Like he didn't
It's the
have
same
that
market.
reach
Maybe-
to adapt people.
maybe
Same
in-
market.
Yeah, maybe another 50 people could fit in there, but not that
Oh,
much.
okay. So it was still a small.
Yeah.
Rather, the same size.
Yeah, so like the tickets for the 930 Club were like $15, and the tickets for one in Charlottesville were like $25, and that was with early entry. So it's not like it was a whole different market.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like going from 930 Club
A stadium.
to Madison Square Garden.
What's y'all? I want to go around and I want to get y'all's like favorite performances and like why they were your favorite. Who wants to
Of
start?
our own?
Yeah, like no, not your own, but like performances
Someone
that you've seen or shows that you've seen. Like who stood out to you the most, Sha? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Say it because it's like everyone's gonna.
It's a
make
tough
fun
one.
Of, well, no, because like everyone already knows what I'm
MGK.
gonna
Oh, it's
say.
gonna be MGK.
Yeah, but like
all right,
that
though.
is,
We
but
do it.
yeah.
And
but
why would
that,
you like
Wait till
his
you get to me.
performances so much?
You do yours. Wait till you get to me.
Oh God, no, but like my reasoning is like I do believe that he probably is the best live performance I've ever seen in my life, including Beyonce, for the sake of the fact that Beyonce is doing more, right? But I mean, it's not touching me the same way, right? Like it was a stadium, you know what I mean? And it was still an experience being there, but like, and I was on the floor at the Beyonce concert, like it still was like I was nowhere near it,
different
you know?
feel.
So like, but with him, it's just kind of like literally every single emotion, he's bleeding it out on the stage, and like you feel it, like you get lost. I got lost in it. Like there was times when I was like eyes closed, like not even like here anymore because I was so like caught up in what was going on. And like just he would speak in between each song, and it was just like I went through that. Like I know what it feels like to feel like that. So that's why it was the best to me. And he's playing instruments and he's rapping and I don't know. I thought it was awesome. I like when people do more than one thing.
Played instruments?
Played drums and guitar at the last show that I
Bring it back a little bit. I like what you said there, and I feel like that also is big for rappers or like frontmen to bridge together the songs rather than you finish one song and go straight into the next. I like a little dialogue in between or engaging the crowd, talking to the crowd, or kind of doing a little segue into the next song.
Yeah.
I think that helps a live performance as well. Logue, what live performance that you've seen stood out to you? None?
Well,
Come
I've been
on,
to,
dog.
Like 2
You haven't
live
been to that
performances.
many?
I haven't been to that.
All right, well, who you
Yeah.
seen?
Wu-Tang.
People in Atlanta.
Oh,
I did
yeah.
get to see
What do you
Wu-Tang.
mean?
It
We've
was on
seen a
my
lot
birthday.
of people then.
Yeah, but none of them really.
None, the
It was
Wu-Tang
kinda like the
performance
festival-
It
didn't
was
stand
so
out?
hot. I was
Yeah.
ready to go.
He's like, I was just caught up.
Everybody was jumping. Like
Festival
it was
performances, I feel
ridiculous.
like, aren't that personable to be like.
It's a
Yeah.
different atmosphere.
We were far. I was drunk.
It was just a lot going
There
on.
was a lot going on. Really, if I had to pick, it would probably be somebody from Valley Cat. Like the first time I saw Spirit or Helix, they really spoke to me. I got Frisian, goosebumps on my arms and shit like that, and it was very inspiring to see younger people than myself do much more and a lot better. It was cool to see them.
Both great performers.
Yeah, I think so too. Very
And
underrated.
they do
local
great
artists.
live. All right, this brings me to another point that I like. When you do a live performance, when you see them and they sound like the songs, you know what I mean? Because
Oh, yeah.
sometimes
That's
I'll
huge.
perform and my voice is off. Like half them Valley Cat shows I was also hosting,
Yeah.
so I'm already screaming, and then it comes to my set and I hardly got a voice left to do a song. But I like one of the performances, or I've seen it multiple times. Aerosmith, Steven
yeah.
Tyler, his live
Aerosmith
performances.
Oh,
Hater. Anyways, his live performances sound so much like the actual songs.
yeah.
And like when he does Dream On, it's and he hits
Same.
the one note, the note everybody knows, the note heard around
Yeah.
the world.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Or he sounds like a pterodactyl. I'm
Yo,
just
I
fucking
like
with
that
you,
joint.
bro.
Yo, for real, I'm gonna work on that, and that's gonna
And
be
I'm
my
gonna
new
hit
avenue.
it. All right, I want to hear.
You made me want to like do it in the mic, but I don't want to make myself look
That's gonna
bad.
take
I want to hear
Trav,
Trav's. Yeah.
Trav, go ahead.
Trav.
I got two. Rihanna was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like I was literally
imagine.
like crying. I wasn't crying, but I feel like like
That
she put that emotion in there. It was just crazy.
Yeah.
And I was pretty close too, so it wasn't like I was in the nosebleeds. And I don't know, that's a different feeling too.
Yeah.
And then Katy Perry killed it.
Like Katy Perry.
I like Katy Perry a lot.
She it was like a show, like not just a performance. It was a fucking show. Only thing that was missing was dinner. Like literally
dinner.
Yeah.
It was dinner and a show.
I was gonna say because both those sound like those are like
major,
well choreographed, and they have
millions
that like
millions of dollars.
every step is practiced hundreds of times.
Even like when those type of performers like go under the stage to get new outfits and stuff.
Oh yeah.
The stuff on the screens is just so entertaining. Like you don't take your eyes off the stage. Yeah, it's just crazy. Like how much money they
here and then they doing something else over here.
How much money they put in that stuff is just wild. But
one person that the style of performing stood out to me because I'd never seen this in hip hop was Chance the Rapper because it was super theatrical. It was like like watching a play or like Broadway is what it felt like to me because of how he was.
Yeah, I saw him at Jiffy Lube.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Did it feel like
it was
that
dope.
vibe?
Theatrical.
Yeah,
good word.
for sure. Yeah.
You know what's really cool about his performances is he has the sign language translators.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's really cool. I've seen it with a lot of performers lately.
His DJ was really good too. DJ Oreo.
Okay.
He was awesome. Like most DJs like open up for rappers or just like playing the normal shit, but he like worked the crowd better than like anybody I've really seen. It was dope.
Word. I think like my tops, and I'm gonna break it down like by genres. Rock, I'm gonna go Aerosmith and Motley Crue. Those, and I've seen like Leonard Skinner, Kid Rock, Def Leppard. Like I've seen a lot, but those two are the top. Kamani Marley puts on a hell of a show. Reggae. Seen him in Colorado. That was dope. And Gibbs.
Oh,
Freddie's been killing.
yeah.
I caught him in Denver, and I caught him at the 930 Club, and he puts on a hell of a show.
Dope.
That's crazy.
I like it, man.
Any shows that you guys want to go see? That you're plotting on?
I mean, I'm glad we caught Wu-Tang last year because that was like bucket list.
Yeah.
For
I'm
you
sorry
to see
you
them?
couldn't be there, Shad.
It's okay.
It was awesome.
Epic.
They are going to be in Jiffy Lube
I did see that. With Snoop?
with Snoop.
Plot on that.
That
like
does look
like
cool.
4 days after my wedding.
Dang.
Let's do it.
Let's just buy the tickets.
Spend all of our
Let's
money.
do it. I'm trying to think if there's anybody that I'll think about it. I don't know if you have any, Logan. You
J. Cole.
J. Cole.
Yeah.
I'd love to see J. Cole live.
He's very good.
Action Bronson, of course. ASAP Rocky. Just, some of my favorite rappers. It would be cool. Just mark them off the bucket list.
I think it's like I'm so obsessed with music. That's something like I've invested a lot of like anytime I have extra money, if I can go to a show, I go. So I've seen a lot of people.
Yeah, you guys have.
I want to see Mo. I missed her in D.C. and I was upset.
Doja Cat.
Yeah, Doja Cat would be cool, but I feel like
Like
she's
a
not that great of a
performance.
performance.
Yeah.
But
No.
I've watched live performances from Mo, and she
Kills it.
kills it. It's awesome.
Let's
Trying
go.
to see Nick D.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nick D.
Same.
100%.
Did you see that video he posted a couple days ago?
Crickets?
He
Where he
was-
sang to his wife.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, of
That
his
was-
performance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really touching.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If he's
on
doing a
grind.
show, I'm in there.
I'm there.
I'm in
Let's
there.
do it.
Big
Let's make a
Wolf.
pack. We're coming to
Break.
see you, Nick D.
Break. So I know I talk about it every single week, how I'm a fiend for podcasts. I don't listen to music in my car anymore. I only listen to podcasts.
Nerd.
And Trav dropped in the group text, like, we always are in here brainstorming topics for the podcast. And he was like, why you should start your own podcast. And we all thought he was joking. But it's actually a really relevant topic because it's like probably one of the most relevant ways that young people get their information, I think. Like, the more that I talk to people, that's where they're getting a lot of their information, whether it's news, whether it's culture, music, because there's a podcast for every single topic that you could think of. So if you're like trying to get yourself out there in any way, shape, or form, I feel like definitely need to get on this podcast wave because it's definitely booming right
Very
now.
influential.
100%, 100%. I had a couple of little bullet points on why I think it's good. And then we can just kind of spitball different things that you guys would think. But first thing I think is, like, it's one of the most valuable networking tools you could ever have. Like, most of the time, when you're trying to meet people, you don't want to come off like you want something from them, right? You don't want to come off like, oh, like I want to talk to you about how we could collaborate or what I need to get from you. But if you hit someone up and say, hey, like I want to have you on my podcast because you just genuinely like what they do, and you tell their story and you get to know them, you're actually building a real relationship with somebody. Then when you down the road need to collaborate or you're looking to bounce ideas off of somebody, you didn't just hit them up off the rip for no reason. You already had like an hour-long genuine conversation and learned so much about them.
And they're more willing to hit you back, like, and work with you than a random person would be. I get what you're saying.
And you might be able to like connect with people that are kind of doing a little bit of a higher level work than what you're doing because you are giving them a platform to tell their story, right? Mm-hmm. So like Dylan Reese, we interviewed him before a show he had out in DC. Honestly, in the music game, like he's killing it right now. He's out in LA and he's like got 500, 600,000 followers on Spotify, like killing it. But he got to come on the podcast and I got to talk with him because we had this platform for him to share that story. Mm-hmm. So I think it's definitely one of the most like overlooked platforms right now because 100% free too if you have a smartphone, because you can download Anchor and literally just record it on your phone. You could set it like right here. Me and Logan could talk for an hour and then I could upload it to every single streaming platform from there, right from my phone. So you don't have to buy equipment if you don't have the money for it.
That's what I was going to talk about.
Go for it.
No, I mean, but you just stole my shine.
Sorry.
And I feel like there's a huge misconception with podcasts, too. A lot of people think that they have to be educational, which most of the times podcasts are very educational. But they can be playful. They can be on sports. Like we know Josh Kirby, who has a sports podcast.
Comedy.
There's literally, comedy podcasts. The possibilities are infinite. So don't hold yourself back thinking that you have to have some kind of educational content to start your own podcast, because that's not true.
I think not only that, but I think people stop and, feel held back because they feel they need, a nice table or mics or nice cameras. Like you said it, you could do it on your iPhone or, you could even just record the audio and upload it. It doesn't have to be accompanied with a video. There's you could freestyle. You could literally just make it your own,
100%.
And nobody could tell you you're wrong.
He brought up a good point before when we told him to save it for the podcast, but we were talking about Joe Rogan podcast and who he just had on and like how, so tell people a little bit, Mark, about what we were talking about before we got on camera.
So I was saying how it's smart how Bernie Sanders is on podcasting because like all our generation, everyone that I know is always on their phones. Uh-huh. So he's targeting those people who don't really watch like the presidential debates and like on TV and stuff because we're all busy. So he's targeting like those people who are actually going to make a change instead of like people on TV,
100%.
So Super smart.
Yeah, so he's talking to like Joe Rogan on his podcast and he's famous. Everyone knows who Joe Rogan is.
Oh, yeah.
And then I saw like a advertisement of him talking to Cardi B on a podcast as well. I'm just like, yo, he's making like
waves. Yeah. That's awesome.
And
That's
Joe Rogan does
marketing.
Everything. What was the first thing he was in? It was Fear Factor, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I don't even think that was the first.
He's a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Stand-up comedian, then Fear Factor. But he's just really got his hands in everything. I think that's important for
There's levels, man.
an
Joe
entrepreneur.
Rogan president.
Okay.
No.
I think he has the biggest podcast out there, or most well known.
I'd say,
Yeah.
definitely.
I mean, he was definitely probably like one of the earlier people to get on it. And it's funny how, like, it gives me hope because a lot of people were talking about how he started, like South by Southwest. He was doing a live podcast at a Whole Foods, like 4 or 5 years ago. Like, that was like when he was first starting, and there's maybe 20 people there.
Yeah.
Now, like, at South by Southwest, there's an entire, like, segment
Entourage,
with, like, hundreds of people that is just centered around his podcast. So, you, like, literally, like, the sky's the limit if you can build, you know what I mean, like, a following and a community around what you're talking about. Like, you could do so much good with that. You know what I mean?
I think what makes him so special, too, is the diversity that he brings to podcasts. Because most of the time it's kind of like cookie cutter, like, it's all about the same thing. Like, we're a music media, community growth podcast, and that's kind of really all that we do. But Joe Rogan will have somebody on to talk about conspiracies, and then he'll have somebody to talk about politics, and he's going to have Cardi B, like Mark said, and I think that's cool to have that diversity.
I look at his podcast like a late night show. Like he's the host. He brings somebody on, and then they talk. You
On
know
a
what I
much
mean?
smaller scale, yeah.
But I mean, like you guys were saying, there's different podcasts for different things. I just look at it like that, and then you got Josh Kirby sports, or you got Will Ferrell does the comedy.
I wanted to say him too.
Anchorman guy.
I feel you.
Which is,
I was wondering if that's actually Will Ferrell or if that's somebody like.
it really is Will Ferrell.
It really is.
I don't know if it was somebody who could do really good
Do the-
impersonations
right.
or do the voice. I
It
wasn't
was
sure.
the most famous podcast for like the first week that it dropped, and then it like
Fell off.
I tried to
Fell
listen
off,
to it,
yeah.
I
I
couldn't,
didn't even-
and I like the Anchorman guy.
I can't see that.
Paul,
I would like
what is it? Ron Burgundy.
Ron
There you go,
Burgundy.
Ron
I like that,
Burgundy.
but I couldn't get into the podcast.
I like how Joe does it too, because he'll have a video, like it's like a YouTube on his YouTube channel. It's a video of him talking to like his guests, but then he'll also like upload the podcast,
Yes.
just the audio part, and which is really cool because like sometimes I'm so busy where like I just can't sit down and watch like an hour worth
Totally.
of video, and then like someone's calling me or whatever. But like whenever I drive to work and stuff, I
Right.
can listen to it.
I was going to ask, like, do you mostly just when you drive to work and stuff? Because you got to commute, right?
Yeah,
Just listen to podcasts. It's a good time to do it.
pretty much. Yeah.
I don't.
It's like early in the morning, no one's awake. You're driving to work, and you're just like, what are people doing? And how can I get motivated? You know,
To
Right.
get my day
Right.
started.
and it helps a lot.
it really
Yeah,
does.
I definitely got addicted. I don't even listen to that much music in my car anymore because I have it's like TV shows for me. Like I have 5 that are like post once or 3 times a week, and on those days I wake up and the first thing I'm thinking about is
That shit
group chat
dropped. Yeah.
that dropped today. Short story long, that dropped today. Like I'm literally like I'm a fan.
I'm glad that you and Mark are doing that while Brandon is just like singing his head off in his
With
car.
no
I was
music.
about to say, like, I don't have podcasts in my car. I have Bullwhip doing acapellas in the car.
It's like, you know what?
And you
It's
know
all
what?
about
I
me.
wouldn't have it any other way.
It's all good, man. It's
Whatever
all good.
floats your boat.
I do listen to the Iron Skillet podcast.
Yeah.
Same.
I hope so.
I check it. I'm like, all right, did I chop that right? Did I do this right?
And sometimes I'll like miss an episode, but like on my way to work, I'll be like, yo, let me see what these guys are up to.
Popping in
And
there.
I'll be like watching. I'm like, oh shit, I'm on my phone.
Hey, pay attention.
Like,
That's
all on the
awesome,
other
man.
side
So
of the
do y'all
road.
think that most people, listen to it, like
Take
the
something
audio?
away.
Like I know
Oh,
people,
yeah.
we've been uploading the videos, but we also upload the audio. But you think the majority is,
In this
audio.
generation, yeah,
Yeah.
because of audiobooks and how like
Yeah.
attention span's so
right?
little nowadays. Where like
Right.
I just rather listen to something.
Yeah, people.
You're right.
I feel like people, when it comes to like, they want the entertainment or the information in the most convenient way, and when you're driving, you can't be doing anything else, right?
Right.
Like you can't. When you're at home, you can be watching TV, you can be doing a million things, but when you're in your car, you're listening to something.
Feed your brain. Yeah.
Unless you're in
Yeah.
a Tesla.
Or
Yeah, then you
whatever
can
you
do
want.
whatever you want. I feel you. I don't know. I think it's definitely something that if you're trying to like spread the word about something that you're interested in or you're passionate about, 100%, I think it's a great idea.
Or even
like,
promote yourself.
Yeah.
You know, it's good. It's good free promotion because you can do it with your phone and upload it onto an app, and it goes everywhere. So
I mean, like, how much awareness around what we do you think has increased since we started doing this podcast?
I don't know. It's hard to gauge it.
I'll tell my experience.
go ahead.
I think for me, a lot. I
Same.
go downtown and I don't get like, oh, Shator, you make music. I'm like, oh, they're like, oh, from the Iron Skillet.
Mm-hmm.
Your podcast.
That happens a lot more
A
now.
lot.
Now that you speak on that, I mean, I was at Subway the other day. It's like, oh, you're in that podcast. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
I also do music.
Or chopped liver in
You
that
know?
category.
But it's like if you're trying, but people that listen to the podcast that would have never found our music will now like, oh, well, man, I know they make music. Maybe I'll go look it up. But they
Right.
would have never found our stuff
Right.
if we did not have this podcast.
Yeah. I think it's helped the Iron Skillet out tremendously.
100%.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
from the outside in, when I first found out about you guys through Gabe, the G-Ro. He's like, yo, I'm going to this interview. I'm like, who? I was like, interview? And he's like, yeah, in Winchester. I was like, what? In Winchester? People are making interviews? That's cool, you know? So then I tuned in. I'm like, oh, these guys are cool. And I like search each one of you on Instagram. I was like, oh, these guys are. And I searched you up, Travis. And I was like, yo, this guy makes some good visuals and stuff too. And these guys make good
Facts.
music. And then from the outside in, it's just like watching you guys grow. It's like, yo, these guys are like doing something good for the community, even though it's like we're in a small town, but you're still making like ripple effects, you know. And
Yeah.
then more people are starting to come out of the woodworks, being like, "Yo, I'm a
Yeah.
creative and
Right.
stuff," and it's really cool because like I feel like in this area in general, it's just like really like go to school, go to work. That's all you gotta do. And if you're doing creative stuff, that's whack.
It gets
Yeah.
dismissed.
Yeah.
You're not gonna make any money. It's just like, why?
From your
Like,
parents,
Yeah.
from like elder
like-
figures.
It's like frowned upon almost, and it shouldn't be.
Not at all.
exactly.
Especially being from like, you think about Winchester, like one big staple in Winchester is Shenandoah University, and it's like a creatives
Yeah.
school, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
But it's a private creative school.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's kind of
A lot of mommy and
fucked up.
daddy money.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
So I wrote down a couple if we could dive into, but a couple of the reasons why I think you should start a podcast. It gives you a platform. You know, it gives you a voice. Like he was saying with the Bernie Sanders, like some people aren't watching the debates, but these podcasts, he's getting his points across to an audience that wouldn't have tuned in otherwise. Same with what you were just saying about people recognize us from a podcast and not the music. It helps us reach an audience that we wouldn't have otherwise reached with the music.
Exactly.
And on top of that, like he was saying, it's inspirational. I feel like a lot of the things that we've done lately have inspired people. The back to school drive. Since we've started that last year, I've been seeing a lot of positive drives and this and that popping up that I didn't see before. I'm not saying we're the reason and people are trying to copy us or anything. I'm just saying, like, you know, one spark lights the fire. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, for sure. I think like 100% when you see someone that looks like you doing something that you've always wanted to do, but you didn't think was possible, you're like, oh, I could do that. They're just like me, you know, like
Exactly.
And like, who do you know around here that has like, you know, a podcast like this? And it doesn't take a lot. It's like some teamwork and like research and figuring stuff out, but it's 100% doable. So it's like by putting that out there, you're showing other people like your voice matters. You can make a difference even if you're from Winchester and you're not in this big city. Like you can still do something, you know?
And it doesn't hurt to ask questions. Like if anybody's listening to this and has questions about starting their own podcast, hit me up because I will help you.
Any of us up.
For sure.
We're here to help.
We'll
We're
navigate.
not like assholes.
That's what the whole podcast is about, man. We're really just sharing knowledge and, you know.
I mean, we have people coming here to do their own podcasts. So somebody hit me up and wanted to do a podcast. I said, yeah, use my studio.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's cool. And I feel like a lot of people, like, kind of like piggybacking off of what you said and what you said, like, our phones. Like, we spent how much, like, $1,300 for an iPhone?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And people are like, oh, I want to buy, like, a lot of people hit me up, like, yo, I want to do videography, but I don't have $3K to spend on the camera.
Right.
I'm just like, you have your phone, it shoots at 4K.
Yeah.
And then, you like, the audio, you record it. You can literally make something out of yourself with just your phone.
Oh, yeah.
And just download, like, editors and stuff to, like, make your quality sound better. And
You just got to want it, really.
So we have a plan. Me and Story actually have a plan about doing a tutorial video about shooting a music video with an iPhone.
Yeah.
That we're gonna do sometime soon, probably.
Yeah.
It's been
It's
in
been
the
in the
works
works
for
for
a
a
while.
while, but
Yeah.
but that's another thing like we want to show is like you can do so much stuff with these
How to
things.
shoot,
It's crazy.
yeah. We did like a whole how to do a photo shoot on your iPhone for free, you
Not
know,
my iPhone,
and like
but
yeah, on I think we used my phone, but we went through and edited the pictures and then posted them and talked about it, and it's just like trying to if your message is honest and authentic, it does not matter how great the quality is as long as it's like a video from your phone, you know what I'm saying, it's gonna resonate with people. So
Totally.
I think just definitely if you're trying to get anything up off the ground, if you feel like you have a message that you've been wanting to share or you like are looking for ways to meet people and network or learn things, a podcast is a great way to do that. And I'm literally going to tell you right now, you go in your app store, download the app Anchor. I'm thinking about books right now. Anchor, download that app. It's free. Literally from there you can record it, upload it to Spotify, iTunes, all that stuff. So you have no excuse.
We're not getting paid for that.
We'll put the link in the description
really
so you can
not.
find it. Definitely.
You know, at one point, a year and a half ago, this was just an idea.
I was going to say
We were
that.
sitting in Trav's basement talking about the thought of a podcast. And then fast forward to our first podcast, which I look back and cringe on because it's
We
like,
all do.
we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah,
and
it's awful.
I think you got to go through that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Figuring it out.
Yeah.
You just got to pull out the camera or whatever it is
Not
and
be
push
afraid.
record and just go with it.
For sure.
Which is honestly what we did, and we kind of are just winging it still, but we got a little bit of a plan now.
We got a handle on it.
Yeah,
we got a handle
for
on
sure.
it.
And you guys
for
are
sure.
like super consistent too.
You
That
gotta
helps
be.
a lot.
Try to
too.
be.
have
You
to
gotta
be.
be.
'Cause you can't
Every other Wednesday.
You can't follow someone and then they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna come out with this on Friday," and then Friday comes. Oh,
Never there.
never mind.
Right.
Not ready.
Technical
Yeah.
difficulties or anything.
Yeah.
No, we appreciate that. You've been consistent too, by the way. Your content's pretty awesome in
Thanks,
comparison
man.
to a lot of other people.
I've been trying. It's hard. Like I have to go back home tonight and then edit again and then be at work tomorrow at 6. So it's just, like,
Right.
It's
hard.
worth it, man. It'll all pay off.
Yeah.
I know you tell yourself that like all the time. Like,
That's why I listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
Hey.
There we go.
Start your own podcast.
Yeah.
Well,
All right, guys. So we're sitting here with Mark Miranda, Marky Mark Films on IG.
Hey.
Famous out here making movies. I was scrolling through your Instagram doing some research for this, and I saw like I don't know if it was a year ago around this time, maybe it was a little longer, that you said you had been 1 year out of the service.
Mm-hmm.
So I did not even realize that you were in the service, and I kind of want to get that story of like how you don't have to go through like super detail, but like kind of talk a little bit about how that was your path and like when shooting kind of came into play in your life.
Well, I had so in high school I didn't really make good grades and stuff. So like school, not looking back, I should have like took it more serious and stuff. But
we all say
That's
that.
a videographer thing because I hated school.
So I went to my counselor one time and I was like, look, I want to like do something with like camera stuff or whatever. And she's just like, oh, well, your grades aren't up to par, da-da-da-da, you should do something else. I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. So then I joined the Army thinking that, like, okay, this is what I need to do.
Yeah.
But the Army was more of like a wake-up call. Like, it got me to grow up, be more mature, and see what I wanted to do. So while I was in the Army, my boy's wife buys a GoPro 4, GoPro Hero 4, which was big at that time. And he's just like, yo, Miranda, do you want this GoPro? My wife bought it and it just sits on the shelf. And I see you, like, trying to do stuff or whatever. I was like, oh, yeah, dude, that'd be cool. So he gave me my first GoPro, and I was just, like, making videos with that. I'm like, yo, this is really cool. So then I upgraded to, like, a point-and-shoot camera, and then would vlog with that, would make, like, crazy visuals with that. And then it wasn't until, like, my end of my last year in the Army where I'm just like, yo, I want to get out and go to film school and do this stuff. So I went to LFCC, told the counselor there what I wanted to do, and she's just like, oh, well, let's be more realistic. And I was like, oh my god!
If I hear this one more
I showed her my. I was like, yo, like I can
My
make some.
portfolio, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, yo, I can make some dope
Good.
ass videos. Like, look at my Instagram. She's like, yeah, but let's be more realistic. Let's
I
put
hate
you in
that.
general studies and then see what you like. I'm like, I already know what I like.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
wild.
So I did general studies for a little bit, and I'm just like, yo, I don't like this. And then one class I had a project. Like, oh, make a commercial or something. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna make this commercial. You know, I
Finally.
had a group. It was like one of those group projects where like you do all the work.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
literally
yeah.
gave my like the other two people like 2 lines to say, and I was like, I'll take care of the rest. And then we got an A, and then I was
Yeah.
like, oh my god, this looks like so cool. I shot it with my iPhone, and then I'm just like, yo, I need to get out of here. So I went to Nova for a bit for film, and then I didn't really like it because it was during the summertime. And in the fall time is when they like interact with like more George Mason students and stuff like that. So then since then I was like, I'm gonna just do freelance until like I can actually go to film school, like Full Sail or like LA Film School and stuff like that, you know. So
I feel you. Do you feel like in high school when your guidance counselor told you like maybe don't do that, did you second guess yourself? Were you like, maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe this isn't a good idea.
yeah, at the time, yeah, because I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
I was like, I guess they know what
They're talking about.
because they're adults, and I'm just.
That's so wrong. Like, it makes me so mad. Makes
Yeah,
me hate
I'm
school even
I'm
more.
sorry that happened to you.
No,
for real.
yeah, it's like definitely like that's why like I'm more like open-minded because like I'm from Strasbourg, so that's where I grew up and
Okay.
that's where I still live, and everyone's like so like closed-minded, and it's just like when they see like someone doing something different, like oh no, that's why da 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 da, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Close friend of mine who's also a videographer always said if you believe in something and everybody else doesn't, double down on it.
That's very true. I was just about to say
J-Law
that.
of One
yeah.
Room Media
Yeah.
always said
You
that.
got to know in your heart and in your head, like, these people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, follow your gut instinct. Follow what you want to do.
And you're proving them wrong, which is awesome.
Exactly. That's a
You're
plus.
doing your thing.
Yeah, I actually had when I was getting out of the Army, some sergeants came up because they're like older people and they've been in forever.
Yeah.
They're like, yo, Miranda, what are you gonna do when you get out? I'm gonna go to film school. Da da da. And I'm like, oh shit.
And no one's like excited for you.
At this time, I'm just like, dude, I don't care what you guys say because like, you guys are 40, going through a divorce, have baby mama. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't have that.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't have that situation. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna just do my thing.
Yeah.
And then I made an MTV Cribs video for my barracks room.
Dope.
And they commented on it. I did it as like a funny, like just a funny
It's
video.
really funny. I watched
And
it.
they're like-
I was gonna bring that up.
And they're like, "Yo, this is crazy, da da da." And then in the comment section, like, "Yo, that's Miranda. He was in my platoon, da 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 da." I'm just like, I know who you are.
But you were a hater back then. Yo,
Yeah,
it
you didn't
killed
believe
me.
in me.
The scene where it's like, yeah, I'm just sitting out here with all my cars, and it pans to the parking lot. It's like 100 cars, and you're just like, yeah, these are mine. I'm like, I was dying watching.
You did the acting yourself too?
Yeah,
That's cool.
I'm a bad
Yeah.
actor, man. Like looking back, I'm just like, I had fun with this. So I don't care, you know.
Yeah.
But like a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're like all your videos like back then, like they were so cringy." I was like, "Yeah, they were all cringy."
But that's how it's gonna be.
Yeah, that's how it
Anytime.
starts. Cause I was looking back at like an old YouTube video, like I did vlogging and stuff while I was in an army as well, like showing like Texas and Dallas and Austin and stuff. And my girlfriend would come visit me, so I'd make like little montages and stuff. And I look back at it and I'm like, "Yo, I did a terrible job."
But it's like
you
gotta start somewhere.
We all started
Like
that
the
way.
frame rates were different. I didn't know nothing about frame rates and all that. I'm just like the shutter speed was off. It was all jittery. I'm just like, what?
Oh,
We're gonna make
There's a-
Trav drop his first video here
Yeah,
in a couple weeks.
there's a I think it's private now, but one of my first YouTube accounts, the videos on there, you wouldn't even be able to finish them. They're so cringy, but fuck, we had so much fun making them.
Oh yeah,
Edwin, who's in the building, you can't see him right now, but he was my main actor.
he was a star in a lot of the
He's just, like, not
episodes.
even acknowledging
He's
it.
like,
He's
no,
like, yeah, fuck
It didn't
that
happen.
shit.
It never
Yeah,
happened.
dude.
I would always try to find that one outgoing friend, and as soon as I put the camera on them, they become all, "Oh, I don't know what to do." I'm just
Right.
like, "Bro, you're outgoing all
You're
the
hilarious.
time."
How are you nervous? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. How do you make someone? Have you ever had that issue in a shoot, where like whether it's photography or like a music video, where like you can tell that the person's kind of like clamming up,
And you're gonna have to coach them through it.
I just I hype them up really, because there's like I've done some photo shoots for just like, I feel weird posing for you. I'm just like, you're not doing this for me. You're doing this for yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Whoever you want to see these photos, or videos. Like I would have some like artists who would just be too like stiff. I'm just like, bro, like
Relax.
loosen up, have some fun, drink some beer, do whatever you need to
something.
get
Yeah.
you in the zone. Like, yo, this
Yeah.
is my video. Like this I want people to see me as. And then once they get that in their mind, they're like, oh yeah, you're right. This is my video. This is my thing. Like, I'm gonna get to it. And I'm just
I'm
like,
excited
that's cool.
to do it. I saw you posting, which I really liked because I do this too, a couple months ago, about some of your goals on Instagram, just like personal goals for yourself. Is that something that you always have done, or did you just get into that?
That's something I've always have done. It's just that now I feel like I'm kind of making some noise. I just put it publicly because I have a lot of people hit me up all the time like, how do I do this? How do I do that? So I just put it publicly. And the last goals I did was like try to be more consistent with my videos. So I would put out more and work more and like put in the hours and stuff. And another thing that I did was like go caffeine free for 30 days.
How did that
No
work?
way.
Oh my! Like the first week, I had like the third day. It was a Wednesday. I was like, I had no
He
energy.
remembers it was a Wednesday.
Yeah.
I was like, I had no energy.
Dramatic.
I was like, I couldn't even talk to you. I was like so like drained. And I'm just like, oh my god! Like it's crazy how your body gets so
Dependent.
dependent on,
There you
the
go.
caffeine. So it wasn't until like I left Thursday. I was just like, all right, I'm starting to get better, like my energy's back. The water's like not tasting disgusting anymore. So I did it, and then we went to Florida. I went to Florida, and I was like, you know what? It was a good month, and I just drank a Mountain Dew. And
Yeah, I was like, that's like,
yeah, it sucked though. It sucked.
Did it hurt drinking it again? Like,
It just gave you that like, on your throat, and it felt good.
That first Mountain Dew back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you.
I probably went soda free for like 2 weeks, maybe one time, and just can't do it. Can't
Currently
fucking do it.
soda free.
Remember, Trav used to get migraines. He's like, I need a
Yeah.
Mountain Dew. I'm like,
Right.
what?
right now.
For
He still
real,
does
though.
that.
They say caffeine's more addicting than cocaine.
It probably is.
I believe it.
I
was
probably
hurting.
is.
Well, they used to be hand in hand, right?
Yes.
Coca-Cola? I don't know. I'm just saying what I heard. These are internet rumors and speculations. I'm not quite sure. I wasn't around in that time.
I was like one of those fiends, like, yo, you gonna finish that?
Yeah.
That last sip, that last sip.
I could drink the backwash of somebody else.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just
Logan, you drink everyone's drinks. What are you talking about?
He's like, don't say that.
I seen him
after like
the other
3
day.
drinks.
He took a sip out of so he's like, is that yours?
I did that at the back to school event.
In Chicago,
Don't tell
too.
anybody.
He's like,
Remember in Chicago?
don't bust me
I have no
out.
sense of awareness. I apologize. There's too much going on upstairs.
Oh my gosh. My man Mark here, he drove to the podcast studio straight from work. And I want to talk a little bit about that because I think that's important. We talk about this a lot. So you have a day job right now.
Mm-hmm.
How important do you think it is that even though you have a day job, because obviously we all have to pay our bills, that you keep pushing towards what you really want to do? And like, how often do you think in our community you may have seen people give up on things that they loved?
Well, the one thing that stays to my head all the time is just like, I don't want to keep working for someone else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep.
And that's like, all right, yeah, so I'm going to still keep doing what I want to do because all you need is like that one video and everyone will see it and everyone's like, oh yeah, I want him.
Yep.
So if you can get like, for example, like you make a crazy ass wedding video, then there's always couples at weddings happen every year. So there's always going to be someone who's going to book you and be like, all right, cool. And then that could be your job in the future, you know, making videos and stuff. So that's what helps me staying like, consistently editing and making videos and stuff, and always going out of my way to like email people, always like DMing people. One time I stayed up till like 2 a.m. just like DMing a bunch of people on Instagram,
Like asking if they needed work.
yeah, or even if like collab, like, yo bro, like there's this one guy in LA, my cousin moved to LA, and he always working with people, but I'm not trying to like jump on the wagon like from him, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you want to build your own thing.
Exactly, yeah. So I would message this one guy and like, yo, if you ever need some videos, hit me up. I can literally book my flight out there and then shoot for you, and I showed him some portfolios. He left me on scene, so I'm just like, well, at least he saw it.
Yeah, at least he saw it.
At least you
Yeah.
saw it.
Yeah.
No, you got to do that.
that
You
happens all the
cannot
time.
be afraid to hear no. You know,
Yeah.
you send 100 messages, even if you got 10 back, like, that's accomplishing.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what keeps me motivated of keep going. And then like at first I was afraid of getting rejected, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just like, yo, like it's just rejection.
Right.
Like they already like I have no idea what they're gonna say, and my
Yeah.
life is still good without them. So it's just like if I ask, if I know, it's like all right, cool.
Positive,
That's
yeah.
definitely a good
If
outlook.
they say no or leave you on red, you're in the
Yeah.
same spot you were if you didn't ask.
And they're
Like,
going to be pissed in a year when you're out there.
Exactly.
Tell yourself that
working.
too,
Yeah.
yeah. I definitely do.
Like, damn, I left him on scene.
Like, I could have had
Now
some
he's leaving me on
videos.
scene.
Exactly.
That
Yeah, I was just about to say
It
that.
happens too.
Look, you had something that you posted today, and I thought it was lit, and I had to bring it up. I'm going to read it, and then I want to get your... Because it's all about... It's like a metaphor between shooting and life. It was the first thing I saw on your Instagram this morning. It says, when a photographer can't change a scene, he changes his angle or a lens to capture the best of that scene. Similarly, when you can't change a situation in your life, change your perspective to get the best out of the situation. Try to be a filter, not a sponge.
Wow.
I thought that was lit.
That's dope.
And like, I mean, just your energy, you're a very positive guy. You're a very welcoming guy. You're someone who, like,
I
when you
appreciate
walk
that.
in, when you walk in the room, it's like, I want to chop it up with you and I want to, you know, see what you've been up to. But I imagine that your life hasn't been just like, you know,
Rainbows.
super
Yeah.
easy this entire
Yeah.
time. I'm sure there's been times where it's been hard. So, like, you know, kind of talk a little bit about that metaphor and, like, maybe how maybe shootings kind of helped you get through some of those tough spots.
So a lot of it was mostly in the Army. So when I was in the Army, you'd be like in your barracks room, not dorms, I'm sorry. So in your barracks room by yourself. So I'm just like, I'm always by myself. I'm just like, I hated being by myself. And then also like my family would always message me like, how are things in Texas, da-da-da-da. So then I'm just like, I miss my family, you know? So I'm just like, yo, like this is like, it felt like low, but like I'm in the Army, you should expect to be like, oh, you're always doing something, but it's not always like that, you know? So then I picked up the camera. That's when I started picking up the camera, just create stuff and keep myself busy.
Yeah, so bored, probably.
Yeah, I got so bored, so I just did that. But I also made videos to like update my feeling on what's going on, because I hate texting. Like I just don't like messaging, like texting back and forth all the time. So I just like, yo, just watch this video. You see what I've been up to, and you see
That's
me,
awesome. Yeah.
You see me in Austin and stuff. And then a lot of it would just be like, I feel like I'm a very chill person, and I just take out, like, whenever like bad things happen to me, I just take out my anger out on like editing and shooting and stuff, you know, like videos or whatever. So I don't
direct it.
yeah, so I just try to like put my energy into stuff that's like really like means a lot to me, instead of like getting mad and like breaking something or getting myself in trouble or whatever, you know. So that metaphor, it really like spoke to me, because like in photo shoots I'd be at a boring place. I'm just like, yo, like face your head that way, and then have this like sign right there, and it'll look crazy, or like, you know,
way better. Yeah.
So that's why I feel like my in my personal life I like change the negatives and turn it into a positive, and then try to put my work out. But sometimes I'll burn myself out, where I just need to like take a break and like go somewhere else and just like
Relax.
Relax, rewind, and then get back to it when I come back, you know?
Oh, for sure.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no, that is like, that's a great thing. Like, that's really hard to do. Like, when you're in like a really tough spot in life, it's really, the instinct is just to be like, this sucks. I don't deserve this, you know, A, B, and C. But to be able to say, like, this happened for me, like, this is like something I got to learn how to work through, because like next time is going to be easier, or when I'm at this higher level, I'm going to have to be able to deal with this kind of stuff. Like, that's always what I think. Like, whenever I'm going through it, I'm like, well, whenever I get to this point that I have in my head, this vision, like, these small problems, I'm going to have to be able to deal with this like it's nothing. If I really want to be operating on this higher level, like, I better be able to brush this off. So I think that's, like, super commendable, and it's definitely, like, an awesome skill to have.
And sometimes I feel like I'm an introvert, but with like extrovert tendencies. If that makes sense. Like I love being by myself, but like when it comes to like talking to people, I'm just like, I get weirded out. It's weird. It's like so like contradicting, you know? Because I'm shooting videos and stuff, but like I like to be by myself, you know. So
I like to be with people when I'm shooting videos, and then edit by myself.
yeah,
Because you don't want somebody over your shoulder.
Fuck alone.
Move it to the right.
Have you seen that meme where the dude's like,
Yeah.
I hate that shit. It drives me crazy.
That's true.
I can imagine. What you got, Logan?
I forgot what I was gonna say, but you said that you use your emotions a lot when shooting videos and stuff like that. I want to know your process a little bit. Do you get a lot of clients who like already have scripts laid out, or do you have to do a lot of that work yourself? And then follow up.
50% of it is me creating everything, you know, like directing it and stuff. And then once we get on shoot, they'll like put their twist to it, which is cool. I mean, I don't care, because like
it's your video.
That's their video. Because I feel like videographers don't really get the spotlight, if that makes sense. Like you guys, the rappers, get more of the spotlight. We just help you brand yourself with your face to the brand, to put a face to the name, instead of like, oh, well, this is Mark Miranda or Travis Clem, you know, we're doing the videos, but it's just like, no, we just create it, and you guys are like the one who's like rise above, you know. So I always like keep that with me too.
Cole Bennett or something, then his name just travels so far, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so here's another one. Let's say somebody wanted something. Oh, no, this is not the question I want to ask. Do you have a gimmick as of right now to where if somebody were to see your work without your name being associated with it, do you think that they would be like, that's Mark's video?
I don't know yet.
You don't have a gimmick yet? It's not a bad thing.
I think my thing would probably be like when the people fly into like one scene. It's like transitions like across this thing, and then it goes, because I do that a lot. I don't intentionally do it, but it's just
something you like.
Something you like.
So I think that's probably my gimmick. But I haven't heard like I don't know. I haven't really thought about that though. I just know I do that a lot in my videos.
That's dope. Make it your own, because at the end of the day, it is art. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, I definitely like your stuff. I feel like the energy, like you're really good, like matching like your movement of the camera. I don't know if you do everything handheld, but like your movement makes it feel like with whatever music is playing or whatever's going along, like I can feel that because of the movement that you're doing with your camera, which I think is dope because I'm trying to learn how to do that and it's not easy. It's freaking hard.
Like, sometimes I would like I did an apple blossom recap video at Brewbaker's, and I was shooting it as like I was thinking how I was gonna edit, you know. So I was like, oh, this scene would look great because I already knew the song that I was gonna do. So I was like, oh, this song would be cool. This scene would be cool for this part of the verse of the song, you know. And I was just like, dude, I always do it like that too. I always think about what I'm gonna shoot while I'm shooting, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. Think about editing to the music.
That makes sense.
Dope.
For sure.
So those that don't know, Mark was actually with us on set of Finger Roll.
He actually shot some of Finger Roll.
That was
Yeah,
actually
he did shoot. He shot the group scene where Trav had to step out from behind the camera and do his hook.
his debut.
And
Yeah, it was.
but no,
Debut and,
that
debut
was
and retirement all in one day.
stop.
Come
Oh,
on, Trav. I'm gonna write you another one soon.
It's happening. You're gonna be on part 4 if there is a part 4.
Grow out the beard and make yourself look homeless.
There you go.
Oh, you're gonna have an acting
you
role,
missed
bud.
it. I looked homeless like 2 weeks ago.
He's got a haircut.
Yeah.
You don't look homely. You just
Never.
had a mullet.
Literally, it was like
Never.
one day.
Yeah, he looked like a pretty boy.
One day he had his hair long.
What?
He's walking towards me from like really far down the walking mall, and I was like, "Oh, Travis got his haircut." Like I could tell from like a very
mile
far
away.
distance away.
What did I say when you walked in today?
Huh?
What did I say when you walked in today?
I don't listen to you.
Oh,
Paranoid.
Jesus.
he's like, well, "Hit him with it, Logan."
No.
And he's like, "No."
What did you say?
I don't know. I
He's like, "You
forgot.
made him forget,
My confidence.
Travis."
Man.
Jesus,
That hurt
Travis,
so bad.
lift him up.
It's okay.
But no, bringing it back, like since I met you on the set of Finger Roll, and I've been following you and watching your content, like I feel you've grown even since June.
Totally.
Like with the
I noticed
editing, like I
also,
feel
yeah.
like I mean, of course, the more and more you perfect your craft, you're gonna get better and better. But I've seen the progression, and I think you're killing it, man.
And give
I
yourself a
appreciate
pat on the
that.
back because you're doing it by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
No, I
Definitely
appreciate that.
commend that shit.
Thank you guys.
Of course, man.
Yeah,
All
Credit
the
where it's
recaps.
due.
You're killing it.
I give you guys a lot of credit too, because you guys are killing it too. So I'm appreciative that you guys like put me on this podcast and talk to you guys and stuff.
Of course,
Absolutely.
man.
Of course,
It's really
man.
cool.
It
We like.
was
Thanks for coming.
100%. It was great having you. Tell them where to find you everywhere on your social. If they want to book you for something, how can they do that?
So you can book me on Instagram at MarkyMarkFilms, or hit me up on my website at MarkyMarkFilms.com. You can see most of my work on there, and just book me and have some fun.
Get out the
Hell
guy.
yeah.
I'll at the homie.
All right, peace.
Awesome sauce.
Mark,
Nice.
that was